Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. Hello, Mavericks and new viewers from all over the world, wherever you may be, maybe even Antarctica. Okay, we are running on all channels, confirmed, and we have a lot of stuff to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about the stuff that everybody else is talking about, and of course, Trump is at the center of it all. We're going to talk about Venezuela, the kidnapping or arrest or capture or whatever you want to, however you want to describe it, of Nicolás Maduro. Was it legal, lawful? Was it illegal? Was it moral? Was it ethical? What does it mean overall? We're going to pivot back and talk a little bit more about what we were talking about last night with Joseph Leonard, who was discussing rights of immigrants and how that all ties into what we've been seeing unfold in Venezuela. So I made some statements last night that I'm going to clarify and elaborate on. And I'm not sure, I think maybe I'll open the phone lines tonight, if you are so inclined. I can have it kind of open in the background, and if somebody wants to call in, maybe I'll take some calls. I don't know if you'd like to do that. Haven't done it in quite a while, but I'm open to it. If you want to give it a shot, I can test the phone system on this computer that we have set up here in our temporary but lavish studio in a bunker in an undisclosed location in southern Ontario, Canada, live from Kazakhstan, the planet or the country of ice and snow and hockey. This is Maverick Live.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Brightleaf Innovations is excited to offer our newest investment opportunity, the Turn Easy Bed Storage Solution.
Turns with a touch, spins all the way around. Every little thing you need is easy to be found. No more clutter, no more mess on the floor. Just spin it, reach it, you don't search anymore. Innovations. Proudly Canadian and patent pending in North America. Turn Easy Bed transforms how you live.
To learn more about this innovative new product idea, an exciting investment opportunity, call 519-784-0222 or visit brightleafinnovations.com.
All right, so today, before we get to the phones, we'll tee things up with a little bit of coverage of the military operation, the special military operation. Where have we heard that phrase before? In Venezuela, but this time it doesn't involve those military forces. This one involves the United States, and it's groundbreaking. It signals the end, in the view of many, of the current rules-based order. So that this paves the way. I'm sorry to tell you. This is maybe, just maybe, the beginning of the new world order. Oh, yes, there are. Oh, I'm not alone in making that assessment. And it's interesting tonight because I am seeing and hearing things from other live streamers, podcasters, influencers, political analysts, and pundits who are catching up and talking about spheres of dominance, carving the world up into 3 spheres of dominance run or ruled by the superpowers, the United States, Russia, and China. And why are they talking about it? Because of what Trump has done in Venezuela, signaling the beginning of the new world order. Just saying. And they're referencing the Donroe Doctrine, which Trump referenced in his news conference yesterday about this Venezuelan strike and the arrest, capture, kidnapping, whatever, of Nicolás Maduro on these allegations of being a drug lord kingpin on a geopolitical, at least scale, within the sphere of influence or dominance of the United States in the Americas. So, see, who have I seen talking about all of this? Like everybody in this context, framing it in this way, realizing that, hey, he's serious about Denmark. He was serious about and is serious about Panama. Trump is serious about Venezuela. Marco Rubio stood up during the news conference and said, this is a president who does what he says. He means it when he says it, as I've been saying for, probably over a year now. Especially when he talks about Canada, and I'm listening to people from across the spectrum, David Frum, Ann Applebaum, Viva Fry. Even he's talking about it in this framing, within this framing, looking at it in this, through this lens of the world being carved up into 3 spheres of domination. The way they talk about it, I think that they've been hearing about it, and those are just a few names. There are many others now, as within the last 2 days, who are talking about all of this stuff in Venezuela and its larger implications geopolitically on a global scale. So it's coming to pass because that's the plan. Can't stop the plan. Can't stop the plan. The big plan. It's coming. It's nothing you can do about it. Apparently, they're just going to do what they want to do, and maybe that's true because the big world powers have the big bomb, the nukes. Europe has nukes too, though. You better remember that, as these other countries will struggle to survive under this new philosophy and ideology, which is being sold to the public as a war on wokeism, the woke mind virus, according to Elon Musk, and the war on liberalism, progressivism, wokeism. And that's generating, a lot of conflict on the culture war, or through the culture war. That's what they're using on an emotional level to get people out into the streets to fight. And to fight online, and just to fight. Oh, what have we heard that before? Fight. Oh, I don't know if any of this is coincidental or accidental, and it's really hard to tell who's who on which side, and who are the good guys and who are the bad guys. Maybe they're all working together. I know this. It's hard to tell what's right and what's wrong if you are looking at it through any of these lenses. And so what I've been doing is I've been trying to step back and not allow myself to get sucked down into any of this stuff on an emotional level. It's difficult. And I try to look at it through, from this perspective of, well, what is right, what is wrong, but also what is legal and what is not legal. And so we're going to look at that a little bit. And that's why we're going to come back to the whole question of rights. Who has rights, who doesn't have rights, because a big part of what has been happening in Venezuela involves immigration. With Maduro and U.S. actions against Venezuela, and the way the government of Venezuela under Maduro, and before that Chavez, the way they conducted their affairs, it resulted in a situation where people were living, in many cases under political oppression or under economic hardship. And so a lot of people fled the country, and a lot of them went to the United States. And while all that was going on, let's face it, there was a lot of anti-Venezuelan rhetoric that emerged in the United States as a result of that. A lot of go back to where you came from kind of talk. Aimed straight at Venezuelans. And that's the case with people from many different groups. That's the culture war. And now with what Trump has done here, he's already talking about, well, some of these people can now go home to their country of Venezuela, framing it as like it's a great thing. And okay, that can be the case. I'm not sure exactly what the true motivation behind some of that stuff is, but we've also seen people cheering in the streets, and opinions are divided. That's the other thing that I've noticed about this Venezuela situation, is that this has just become another issue that is divisive, even within MAGA circles, conservative circles, and freedom circles up here in Kazakhstan. I see people fighting over it. People who have spent the last while. Every once in a while, you hear another rallying call, especially on the freedom side up here in Canada. We have to unity. We have to unite. Stop fighting. All the infighting. If you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything at all. And then people don't talk to each other, and it divides people more. And this, whether it's Palestine, Israel, or whether it's Ukraine and Russia, or whether it is Venezuela, we have division. And I was just watching. I don't normally watch Viva Frei at all, hardly ever, but it came up because they promote him over on Rumble, which is why he has, pretty big following. He's always up on the front page, so they push him on you. And so I did click on it, and I was listening to it, and people in the chat are blowing up at Barnes because he's talking about how, this old idea of regime change is a bad idea. It never works out well. And they're like, what are you talking about? Because they have all these pro-MAGA people in there, and they don't understand why he's talking smack about this whole thing. But he's talking about it from a historical perspective and a legal perspective, and just a pragmatic, what the hell is going to happen now that this has happened? And history has shown that rarely, if ever, have these things worked out in favor of the people, because it destabilizes everything, creates, political social, and just logistics vacuums within a society that need to be filled. And then quite often what you get coming in is worse than what you had going out. So we'll see where this one goes. Trump says he has a plan, but I'm not so sure. Anyway, over on conventional television today on the major networks like NBC, ABC, CBS, CNN, CTV, KGB, FSB, CIA, LMNOP. Marco Rubio is making the rounds because he's out there selling this thing to people. That's what he was doing this weekend. He was on multiple networks, spinning up the narrative and, speaking off the top of his head. There was a little bit of, inconsistency in what he was sort of conveying through these interviews. He's a pretty sharp guy. He's carrying water for Trump for sure. He's, he's out there as Secretary of State, putting the best of, lipstick he can on this, whatever animal you want to attribute to it. And he's like, on the one hand, over on NBC, he's saying, I think it was ABC. He's saying, I think it was ABC where he's like, well, we're not going to actually run the country. It's just a transitionary thing or whatever. But over on NBC, he said essentially that they own the place now and they, it's ours, and we're going to run it as a transitional thing. In other words, they're going to put somebody in there that they want. They're going to put a puppet regime in. They're going to put a puppet leader in, somebody who's going to do their bidding of the oil companies. Trump talking about that. I mean, just blatant, wide open, brutal. Like normally he lies his ass off about stuff. He makes up numbers, exaggerates his gonads off. And, but in other ways, he's just brutally honest because he just doesn't give an F. He doesn't care about the law. He doesn't care about the international rules-based order at all. He doesn't care about NATO, doesn't care about the EU, doesn't care about U.S. allies, doesn't care about anything except what he wants. He says it's America first, but I'm not really sure about that. And I don't believe that he does this for any moral or ethical reason at all, really. It's pretty hard to justify what he does on those grounds based on his actions, pardoning that leader of Honduras who was facing that 45-year sentence on drug charges, but that guy goes free. But Maduro, well, that's another deal. That's another deal, baby. There are a bunch of reasons to think why Maduro has been hauled in there after this special military operation. Not the least of which is the oil. It's like that's the major thing. But for Donald Trump personally, there's a lot of speculation out there about why he did it. Well, why for Donald Trump personally, what is the connecting dot between Donald Trump and Venezuela and elections? Voter fraud, voting machines. Yeah, they use these machines. There are allegations out there. It's like Venezuela is the hub of activity and operations for Smartmatic and Dominion voting machines. And what have we seen in Venezuela? All these accusations that Maduro came to power illegitimately through illegitimate elections that were basically fraudulent. And then you're seeing all these allegations now in some live streams that I don't know how credible they are, but they're like, the Venezuela, and they got the voting machines there, and it's the same thing. And now the it's all coming full circle, and now we're going to get the truth, or they say. I'm skeptical of it all because of the way everything has gone down. And I've seen some of the live stream or the videos that are out there about this. And I know that in some cases, the people putting that information out are absolute 100% for sure from my personal experience I know they're propagandists, and I know that some of the other information they're spinning up around all the voting machine stuff in some of these videos involving other issues are just outright lies, which makes me question the credibility of the stuff they're saying about the voting machines. And the other reason I'm questioning the validity of all this stuff about the voting machines is because of what Trump has done. The track record that he has. All this talk about, see, if this is going where these guys want us to think it's going, it's like Maduro's probably, they're thinking, or they're trying to suggest here, I think, that Maduro's in the country, Trump's going to drag him into court or whatever, and maybe a deal will be made so that Maduro spills the beans on the truth about the fraudulent voting machines, to expose the corruption and get to the bottom of the deep state, so all these Democrats can be held accountable, and all the unfaithful Republicans, all those corrupt rhinos, can be held accountable. But the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wait a minute. If it's true, why is Trump in the White House? He won the first time they used machines. Second time, didn't win. Says he did, but he didn't. They cheated. They stole the election. Okay. So I'm like, I'm maybe with you, and first time around, I'm like, when he didn't win, and I was like, yeah, I don't know, fishy business there. I've never seen anything like this. And it's true. It's a lot of questionable stuff, but I'm not sure it's really the voting machines. And I'm not really sure it's all on the Democrat side. Because if there's one thing I've noticed about Trump, is he likes to rig things too. Lots of rigging. And I look back at all the problems we've had since Trump came down that escalator. It's like the world changed when he came down the escalator. And then he made himself out to be a martyr. He's always the victim. And yet all the problems just seem to, swirl around him, whether it's the pandemic or the controversy about the mandates, lockdowns, masks, all that stuff. All swirls around him. And then the people around him who just are so faithful that he can do no wrong. He's like a deity. And that's how they portray him, as Jesus, a king, literally posting pictures like that. And people are like, I mean, seriously, Joseph talked about, there are Trump cultists out there. Why is that? Because when you have a dictator or a supreme leader or whomever, an authoritarian in power, one of the things they always do is they put those guys out there, and they promote them, they advertise them, they use images of them in order to subliminally and just outright blatantly, overtly just convince you that they are omnipotent, infallible, can't make mistakes. They're just great godlike leaders. Maybe don't use that phrase, but then we see pictures of Trump posting himself looking like the Pope. But more than that, I say, why is he in the White House then? If they're rigging the election with these machines, because they used machines in the last election. And he won. Well, they made it too big to rig, Rick. Really? Let me tell you something, man. If you can rig a computer, do you think that they can really make it too big to rig when they can rig it? I don't know. I'm questioning the questions, because so much of the world right now is upside down and does not make sense. And so much changed when he came down the escalator. So I'm questioning him. I'm questioning Biden too. I question them all, but I'm really right now laser focused on Mr. Trumpster. I got a lot of questions. And I guess maybe we'll get to some of the answers. I don't know. Over time, maybe, and maybe the machines are, screwed up, rigged. It may be, maybe these companies really were selling elections. Buy an election, just sign a contract. We'll bring in the voting machines for you and we'll rig her all for you. I don't know, though. I don't know. Maybe, just maybe it's not the way we think it is. Maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it was bought. But maybe this time it was bought by Trump. Just saying. It's a theory. These allegations have not been proven in court. I'm just saying, man, we need to start questioning all this stuff because nothing makes freaking sense. This is the peace president, the guy who said that he's going to keep us out of all these wars. No, lie. It's a lie. It was a lie. Well, he says, Rubio says it's not a war. It was just a special military operation. That's my paraphrasing. But, it was just an in and an out. They went in and arrested, captured Maduro. But I'm so skeptical now. I'm like, I don't know if I believe anything at all that anybody is saying about any of this stuff. He's a drug kingpin. Really? Because it's funny, they're saying a lot of the same stuff about people in other countries too, including ours. Yeah, but this journalist over here, he did a whole story on it, and he's got the scoop. Yeah, well, he lied about a lot of shit too. So I don't know if I believe him. My country's under attack, man. Like, whoa, hang on here, man. And there's a long track record of this superpower throwing its weight around and becoming involved in regime change. And I don't know, is this thing down there in Venezuela, does it fit the pattern? Is it good for the people? Maybe. If it depends, though. It's like it could be a bad thing in that it's not moral or ethical, but the people might still end up benefiting more because you might bring in a corrupt government that still makes life better for the people, because you could have a corrupt government making dirty deals with big U.S. oil companies going in there and pumping the oil out, and they might spread, more wealth among the people and lift more people out of poverty. It could be a good thing for the people overall. Might even bring more stability. So it might be better to have a corrupt government in place overall. But then what's the price? Well, then your price might just be your freedom, and you might not even realize it. Or on the flip side of that, maybe it would have been the moral thing to do, to just leave it all alone and leave Maduro in there, because maybe he wasn't as corrupt as they say. Maybe he really was doing his best to bring a socialist utopia to the people or whatever, and maybe that is what they chose. And maybe the elections down there were more legitimate than we're told, but maybe the people were suffering because it just wasn't a good situation and they just couldn't make it work, and maybe that's what it is. So then they have their freedom, but they don't have anything to eat. So which do you want to give up, your freedom or your prosperity? And why aren't they prosperous? Because they're a bunch of communists, or is it because of sanctions and other geopolitical realities that make it impossible for them to trade effectively with other parts of the world or something? I don't know. I don't live in Venezuela. I haven't lived in Venezuela. I observe, and I know I've been down into that part of the world a few times. I've been to Cuba and places like that, but they've got their challenges too. But it's not as bad in Cuba as people make it out to be. I don't like Cuba. I don't want to go back to Cuba. I didn't like all the anti-American propaganda that you're exposed to while you're down there, from the time you land at the airport and you walk by the stores in the airport there, and you have all the anti-American propaganda books to the anti-American documentaries that they're running in your hotel room on your television set. I didn't like it because, I do love America, or at least the America that I came to know. I don't know if this is not the America that I thought I knew. Maybe this is the America that always was, and Trump is just being more honest about it. But it just doesn't feel right. Doesn't seem right. And, And that's why last night, the conversation we had with Joseph Leonard, author of Terror Strikes and a good friend of the channel, friend of mine, it was spirited, to be sure. And then when we got into this whole question of immigration and rights and so on, it just went into a bit of a spiral, because I'm like, even illegal immigrants have rights, some rights within the United States and even Canada, when they're within the sovereign territory of the U.S. or Canada. And he's like, no, they don't. They don't have any. And this is the perspective that a lot of people, especially on the conservative or the right-hand side, if you will, of the political spectrum, that's a lot of their view, and they don't care. We're going to come back to that. But before we do that, let's go to today's exchange with Marco Rubio over on NBC. I think it was NBC, right? Saying they're not at war with Venezuela, but do I have it here for you? I might have to re-cue it, because after a while, these things kind of fade away. Let me find it here. Yeah, I have to re-cue it. So Rubio. Here we go. Yes, he says Maduro's capture is not a war against Venezuela. I got the full interview up here, so let me bring it up. We'll watch a bunch of it. I don't know if we'll watch all of it. It's a little lengthy for what we're going to do, but I think this one's real important, because he is the Secretary of State, and I think that he, again, is echoing where the administration is at. I mean, they are talking over at the White House and the Trump administration officials about the Donroe Doctrine. They're talking about just openly now the national security policy that they published about 2 weeks ago. And it lays it right out. This is like carving the world up into these spheres of political dominance. They're just openly talking about it now. And some people are finally beginning to clue in that this is actually happening, this new world order. And it is something that China and especially Russia, I mean, this is really a political ideology and strategy that is really, it was sort of birthed in Russia, and it's meshing with the populism, especially of the MAGA movement in America. Anyway, let's go to Rubio and the Meet the Press clip here from today.
Rubio, Secretary Rubio, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. I want to start with this big picture question. Is the United States now at war with Venezuela?
There's not a war. I mean, we are at war against drug trafficking organizations. It's not a war against Venezuela. We are enforcing American laws with regards to oil sanctions. We have sanctioned entities. We go to court. We get a warrant. We seize those boats with oil, and that will continue. We will continue to reserve the right to take strikes against drug boats that are bringing drugs towards the United States, that are being operated by transnational criminal organizations, including the Cartel de los Sols. Of course, the leader of that cartel is now in U.S. custody and facing U.S. justice in the Southern District of New York, and that's Nicolás Maduro. So we made a big progress in that regard.
Mr. Secretary, who is in charge? Are you running Venezuela right now?
Yeah, I mean, I keep people, fixating on that. Here's the bottom line on it is we expect to see changes in Venezuela. Changes of all kinds, long-term, short-term. We'd love to see all kinds of changes. But the most immediate changes are the ones that are in the national interest of the United States. That's why we're involved here, because of how it applies and has a direct impact on the United States. Okay, we are not going to be able to allow in our hemisphere a country that becomes a crossroads for the activities of all of our adversaries around the world. We just can't allow it. We can't have a country where the people in charge of its military and in charge of its police department are openly cooperating with drug trafficking organizations. We're not going to allow that. These things are direct threats to the United States, and we intend to use every element of leverage that we have to ensure that that changes. The one I would point everyone to is that our military is helping the Coast Guard conduct a law enforcement function, which is not just the capture of Maduro, but the enforcement of our sanctions. We go to court, we get a warrant, we seize the boats. And we think this is tremendous leverage, incredible, crippling leverage, which we intend to continue to use until we see the changes that we need to see that are benefit to the American people. And by the way, we believe to the people of Venezuela as well.
But Mr. Secretary, I think there's a lot of questions about who the point people are during this transition. President Trump said, we're going to run the country. So is it you? Is it Secretary Hegseth? Who are those people who will be running the country specifically?
Well, it's not running, it's running policy. The policy with regards to this, we want Venezuela to move in a certain direction because not only do we think it's good for the people of Venezuela, it's in our national interest. It either touches on something that's a threat to our national security or touches on something that's either beneficial or harmful.
And are you involved in that transition,
and so obviously
Secretary?
I'm very involved in this. Well, of course. I mean, I think everyone knows I'm pretty involved on politics in this hemisphere. Obviously, as Secretary of State and National Security Advisor, very involved in all these elements. The Department of War plays a very important role here, along with the Department of Justice, for example, because they're the ones that have to go to court. So this is a team effort by the entire national security apparatus of our country, but it is running this policy. And the goal of the policy is to see changes in Venezuela that are beneficial to the United States, first and foremost, because that's who we work for, but also, we believe, beneficial for the people of Venezuela, who have suffered tremendously. We want a better future for Venezuela, and we think a better future for the people of Venezuela also is stabilizing for the region and makes the neighborhood we live in a much better and safer place.
President Trump said the administration is working with Maduro's Vice President, Delcy Rodriguez. Why does the administration oppose working with the opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado? She's the Nobel Peace Prize winner, of course, as well. Her coalition has the support of 70% of Venezuelans. Why not work with her?
Before he answers that, I just want to point out that everything, keep in mind that everything being done, everything that has been done and continues to be done to justify everything from the boat strikes to the apprehension of Nicolás Maduro, it's all being done through U.S. courts. It's not being done internationally. It's not being done through agreements or any kind of cooperation with other countries at all. It's all being done through U.S. courts. So you have to keep that in mind. And so this is completely, with complete disregard for international law, sovereignty of other countries. They're just saying, well, we went to court. Well, whose court? Your court, courts that Trump says are actually corrupt, but courts that are also just using U.S. law. And last night, Joseph saying, well, this was a police operation. Well, even here in Canada, if you're the Ontario Provincial Police, you can't go to the Ontario Provincial Police don't go to Saskatchewan or to British Columbia to police. They stay in their jurisdiction where they have authority to effect arrests and enforce the laws within their area. They don't actually, if you had an OPP officer head out to Alberta and get into the affairs and just start being a cop out in Alberta, where the RCMP are contracted and have legal authority to be cops, you might find yourself having a bit of a legal problem. I mean, there are agreements and legal mechanisms in place so that various levels of police in Canada and the U.S. can work, in one jurisdiction or another. But even over on the U.S. side, the FBI and the CIA are feuding all the time, and you've got local cops, and you see it in the movies all the time. It's like the feds show up, and the regional or local cops are like, they're like, we're in charge now. No, you're not. You don't have jurisdiction here. So this is a question of jurisdiction. And, most of the legal experts out there tonight and through all of this have been saying none of what they're doing is legal. I'm not judging it really on any other basis, but this doesn't comply with international law at all. Really, it doesn't, but Trump doesn't care. And he's made that very clear. We'll come back to it. Well, let's go with more of Rubio now, where he is also talking about, well, I mean, Trump basically threw Machado under the bus, saying, oh, she's not popular. She can't be the leader. Right. And this is the Nobel Peace Prize winner. Maybe that's why he doesn't like her, because he wanted the Nobel Peace Prize and she won it and he didn't get it. I wouldn't be surprised, because he seems to be that, well, petty sometimes.
Well, a couple things. First of all, Maria Corina Machado is fantastic, and she's someone I've known for a very long time, and that whole movement is. But we are dealing with the immediate reality. The immediate reality is that, unfortunately, and sadly, but unfortunately, the vast majority of the opposition is no longer present inside of Venezuela. We have short-term things that have to be addressed right away. We all wish to see a bright future for Venezuela, a transition to democracy. All of these things are great, and we all want to see that. I've worked on that for 15 years on a personal level, both in the Senate and now as National Security Advisor and Secretary of State. These are things I still care about, we still care about. But what we're talking about is what happens over the next 2-3 weeks, 2-3 months, and how that ties to the national interest of the United States. And so we expect to see more compliance and cooperation than we were previously receiving. With Nicolás Maduro, you could not make a deal or an arrangement. Although he, by the way, was given very generous offers. He could have left Venezuela as recently as...
Aren't they so generous? Oh, my goodness. We made it. We were making him a deal. He could leave. We let it. We gave him an opportunity to leave. All he had to do was surrender sovereignty. Like, what a jerk. He didn't go. Yeah. Maybe he stayed because you don't have any authority there, and he was going to stand up to Godzilla. When I say Godzilla, do you guys even understand what I'm talking about? I mean, Godzilla is a metaphor, right? Because Godzilla was created from radiation, from the bomb. That's the whole idea. You got a big lizard creature thing that became this, distortion and, a symbol of American power, which is the bomb. And that's what we're living next to right up here. Every time they get a cold, we get the flu. And if Donnie gets an itchy trigger finger, we might find ourselves in trouble. Mark Carney, are you paying attention?
A week and a half ago, there were opportunities available for him to avoid all of this, because now he's not someone we can work with. No. He suckered the Biden administration into stupid deals. He's made a career out of not keeping deals and figuring out how to save himself by buying time. And President Trump was not going to fall into that trap. So now there are other people in charge of the military and police apparatus there. They're going to have to decide now what direction they want to go. And we hope.
But they're not supposed to be the policemen of the world. Oh, but you see, that's the thing. They are the policemen of the Western Hemisphere. This is their sphere of dominance. They get to do whatever the hell they want. They make the rules. They make all the rules, and they make them up as they go along, I guess now. They take what they want, including the oil and even the ships that carry it.
Hope they will choose a different direction than the one Nicolás Maduro picked. Ultimately, we hope this leads to a holistic transition all the way around in Venezuela, societal, political, all of that. We're in favor of all of that. But right now, we have to take the first steps, and the first steps are securing what's in the national interest of the United States and also beneficial to the people of Venezuela. And those are the things that we're focused on right now. No more drug trafficking, no more Iran, Hezbollah presence there, and no more using the oil industry to enrich all our adversaries around the world and not benefiting the people of Venezuela, or frankly, benefiting the United States and the region.
Holy crap. So what's going to happen when us communists up here in Kanakistan build that pipeline from Alberta out to the BC coast and start shipping all that oil to Asia? Who's going to buy that? When they say Asia, that's a friendly way, a soft way of telling the U.S. administration, we're going to sell it to China. You think? And then all you guys out there, you're like, it's all Carney and it's Trudeau and Polyev, and it's our government. They're so corrupt and they won't build the pipe. Who the hell do you think is blocking the pipelines to be built out to the West Coast? I've been telling you for a long time. Well, it's the environmentalists. Yeah, they're being bought, man, because it's all a freaking game. The big U.S. oil companies want those pipelines heading south, baby. They don't want them going east or west. Just saying. What's going to happen to Canada when we start to build another pipeline out to the BC coast? How do you think Trump's going to react to that? Where's it going? Chinistan? From Kanakistan? Communists! Fentanyl flowing over the border. Oh, we don't. And then we have the people in the freedom movement who are like, oh, we need the United States to invade us, to save us. Why won't Lieutenant Steve Rogers come on and talk to me about his SOS campaign? Save our souls from the communists in Canada. He literally had you guys writing letters asking to be invaded. Think about it, man. Think about it. Okay, I'm going to put the phone line number up here in a minute. Okay, here we go.
Talk about a holistic transition. I think there's a lot of focus on potential elections. How soon will elections be held? Joking. Within 30 days, Mr. Secretary?
Elections? Well, look, this is a country that's been governed by this regime now for 14 or 15 years. The elections should have happened a long time ago. The elections did happen. They lost them, and they didn't count the votes, or they refused to count the votes, and everyone knows it. So all of that, I think, is premature at this point. There's a lot of work to be done here. Right now, what we are focused in, let's be realistic here, what we are focused on right now is all of the problems we had with when Maduro was there. We still have those problems in terms of them needing to be addressed. We are going to give people an opportunity to address those challenges and those problems. Until they address it, they will continue to face this oil quarantine. They will continue to face pressure from the United States. We will continue to target drug boats if they try to run towards the United States. We will continue to seize the boats that are sanctioned with court orders. We will continue to do that and potentially other things until the things we need to see addressed are addressed. Because ultimately, above everything else, we care about elections, we care about democracy, we care about all of that. But the number one thing...
Do you? Yeah. Did you buy your Trump meme coins? Everybody's stocked up. I hope you bought low and not high. It's a little more expensive when it was $75 a pop down to $4.90 because, they care. They've got big hearts, these guys.
The thing we care about is the safety, security, well-being, and prosperity of the United States.
Am I editorializing?
And that's what we're going to focus on first and foremost here. And that's what these policies, these changes we need to see made are about.
Okay, significant there. You say you will continue to seize boats when necessary.
We're going to keep the oil and the ships, said Trump. I don't care what country they're from.
Was asked about the possibility of U.S. boots on the ground. He said, quote, we're not afraid of it. How many U.S. forces are on the ground right now in Venezuela? Are there any?
We don't have U.S. forces on the ground in Venezuela.
Yeah,
no, we don't have U.S. forces on the ground. Everyone knows. They were on the ground for about 2 hours when they went to capture Maduro.
Trump
said I think what the president is saying is very simple, and that is, as president of the United States, he is not going to go around telling people what he's not going to do.
Operation.
He's not going to go around saying, I won't do this, I won't do that. Yes, I care about this issue, but I'll only go so far. He retains all this optionality. In the particular case you're citing, this was, in essence, at its core, a law enforcement function. Okay? The Department of Justice, dating back in the Biden administration, that had a $25 million reward for his capture. So we have a reward for his capture, but we're not going to enforce it. That's the difference between President Trump and everybody else. It's easy to make a wanted poster and say $50 million for the capture of Maduro, but no one takes that seriously because you're not going to do anything about it. President Trump did something about it.
Let me ask you.
He did something about it. We went in, we grabbed him, he was arrested, and he's now in New York. No Americans were killed, no equipment was lost. It had to be done, and it's been done. And I assure you, the people left behind in Venezuela now that are in charge of the police and everything else, I assure you, they're going to probably be a lot more compliant than Maduro was as a result.
Yeah, because Trump's already threatening the person who's running things right now. He's like, if you don't straighten up and get her straight, we're coming for you too. He's already doing that. And you know what? Good luck in court, man, against Maduro. You better rig it good because Trump has made it very clear that one of the main motivations for this whole thing was to get the oil. So if you're dragging him into court saying it's over the drugs, better bring the receipts, man. Like, show me the freaking proof, because Trump might have just shot himself in the foot legally because he said that, we want all the oil back. They stole the oil. Okay, man. Not that but it probably won't make any difference because they've got the guy and they're going to do what they're going to do. Whatever it is, or make a deal. Who knows? Who knows? Will some other country, put pressure on and try to come to Maduro's rescue? Who the hell knows? I don't know. Well, if you want to call in, I'll run the video here with the number to phone. I can open the phone lines kind of anytime. I do want to talk a little bit, then I'll do it through the course of things about, whether an illegal immigrant actually has any rights in either Canada or the United States. And I'll just refine what I was talking about last night. So, I have to find the right thing to click on so that you guys know what number to call. And here it is. You can call now at 1-647-734-4220. Punch in that PIN number when prompted, 860-075-764, followed by the number sign. And I'll let you in. Okay, Mavericks, it's call-in time. Join the conversation. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Exercise your right to free speech. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Call 1-647-734-4220. Then enter the PIN number 860-075-764, followed by the pound sign. Maverick News. Call now. The world is watching and listening to you. Okay, so somebody texted me saying I should give a number for the USA. It's a Google number, is what it is. So, so what area code is that right now? Well, I guess it is a Toronto number. I can't do a whole heck of a lot about that. Yeah, I can't do her. It is what it is. I don't know if it's a long distance call. It might be, but as I say, it's a Google number. I get calls from the U.S. Don't know what else to tell you. So there's that. I'll give this some contemplation. There might be a solution. There is a toll-free number that I have that costs just a few coins. So I could maybe give that to the mod in the chat, and you can give it out selectively. And if you want that to happen, you could donate and help cover the cost of the 1-800 number. It's actually 1-866 number. So that's up to you guys. You can do that through here's a good way to plug the channel. You could donate through the Rumble Rants, or you can send an e-transfer to rw581@aol.com and use the note or the security question answer Maverick, all lowercase preferably. In fact, it has to be, because it has to be exact. Prompted. So when prompted by Interact, just punch that in, and then we'll know what the answer is when it comes through. Can't process the payments unless the security question is answered or set up when you donate that way. So you can do that, or you can donate at freedomreporters.com or maverickdonations.com. Most people donate through the freedomreporters.com PayPal thing. I'll put that up here right now, and then we'll come back on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so here's a solution. In fact, maybe even disregard that link I just put up there for the link to the studio that way. What I'll do is I'm going to put the video link up for the call-in system. And then if somebody wants to, they can dump into that with video. And if you're there, you'll be able to hear phone calls from other people when they come in too, if that happens. So let me put that up there. Here we go. Okay. Right here. Either way, we can always make it work. That's actually better to do that if you want to do by video. If you're really shy, I guess you could turn your camera off if you wanted to pretend to be like, if you needed to go incognito because you're feared. Here we go. Okay. So there's all that. Anyway, so just before we get into any of that, do illegal immigrants have rights? Yeah, they do. They're entitled to due process. I didn't want to go too far with what I was saying last night because I didn't want to get anything wrong, but I know that it's in the U.S. Constitution. So I did take a little bit of time and I looked it up, and it's in the 14th Amendment. And I think it's pretty darn important. Let me bring it to you to make the point, because Joseph and others, but Joseph was going, don't have any rights, get to deport them, don't have to do anything, just get rid of them. I don't think he even really fully understood. I can't read that for the moment. So I don't think that I think he was confusing what rights and privileges were when he was the one talking about it. Because he was going on about they don't have the right to like welfare or free anything. I'm like, yeah, well, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about legal due process. Anyway, okay, let me do this. Present, and there, it's big. So it is the 14th Amendment, and there it is on the screen. So it says right in there, no state shall deprive any person, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of the laws. So, what's going on? Look at all these texts. Okay, I'm going to take a moment on the fly here and see what is going on. There's stuff going on in the chat, I guess, and I'm not reading it. So, Lori is there. And, I see. Norfa. I see. So some people want Lori to call in. Well, you call in. Join by video. I'm right here. I'm going to be on for hours because I just don't shut the F up. And that really drives some people crazy. Yeah, I'd love to talk to you. It's all good. I'm right here. You know where I'm at. No issues, man. Be nice to have you back. I don't know. I sent you an email there, actually, Lori, like about a month ago. So anyway, to invite you. We'll see what goes on. Says you don't have video. Okay. Well, that's unfortunate. Anyway. Well, if not tonight, maybe another night or whatever, but you're welcome to join if you want to. Anyway, that's what it says under the 14th Amendment. And so, yeah, undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants in the United States, they don't have the full range of rights afforded to U.S. citizens, but they are entitled to certain fundamental protections under the U.S. Constitution. And it really comes mainly from the language in the Constitution itself. This is a constitutional thing. And Joseph, last night, my friend, you call yourself a Christitutionalist, which means that you're trying to be true to the Constitution. Well, these are the words of the Constitution in the 14th Amendment. And the key provision is right there. It was ratified in 1868. I've made some notes. And it says, as I said, no state shall deprive any person. Doesn't say U.S. citizen, any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of laws. And the amendment was intended to protect newly freed slaves after the Civil War. But the Supreme Court interpreted its due process and equal protection clauses to extend to all individuals physically present in the United States, physically present, regardless of citizenship or immigration status. And so this extends to due process rights, because under both the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment, they cannot be deprived of life, liberty, or property, which is what I was saying to you last night. If you're caught jaywalking and you're an illegal immigrant, you have some rights, which is the right to right to life, which means for an offense like that, it doesn't mean a cop can then pull out a gun and blow your head off and execute you on the spot, being judge, jury, executioner, saying, well, he's an illegal immigrant. He didn't have any rights. I just shot him in the head. He was jaywalking. Can't do that, whether you're a U.S. citizen or not. If you're in the jurisdiction of the United States, because you're a civil society, you just don't go around doing stuff like that. That's what makes the United States great, or it's supposed to. Equal protection, 14th Amendment prohibits states from denying equal treatment under the law to any person, not just U.S. citizens. Equal treatment under the law doesn't mean that you get all the rights of a citizen and being a citizen, but you have certain fundamental rights, like the rights that come from God, which are recognized by the U.S. Constitution, and therefore you just don't get your head blown off for no reason, because you're a human being. How about human rights? The Constitution recognizes certain fundamental rights. And there are additional amendments that extend to persons generally, such as the Fourth Amendment safeguards against unreasonable searches and seizures, and the First Amendment's freedoms of speech and religion. But they can be limited, both for illegal immigrants and for citizens. Illegal immigrants also have the rights and have rights in criminal proceedings. That's why you get a lawyer. You're allowed to have a lawyer and you get a hearing. Maduro, not a U.S. citizen, but he's going to have a lawyer in the Southern District of New York when he goes to court, and he's making a court appearance tomorrow. And they apply because once an individual is physically present in the United States, even if they entered unlawfully, the Constitution's territorial jurisdiction kicks in. And the Supreme Court has consistently held that the government cannot treat people as if they have no legal standing simply because of their immigration status. If they are involved or accused of a crime and they're in the jurisdiction, they have standing in court, which means they get representation. They're entitled to due process because they're involved. They are accused. And as I said last night, and I've said it many times, if you violate the rights of one person, then your laws don't mean anything, because now they can do it to anybody they want, because then rights mean nothing. And if the government can just throw rights right out and not recognize them, then that sets a legal precedent. It's like, well, we don't have to recognize that guy's rights, so why do they have to recognize yours? And they don't have to at that point, because what we've seen is the Trump administration running around just rounding people up off the streets. And that makes some people really happy. But when they're doing that, if they're not applying, they can easily then just round up a U.S. citizen and throw them in the back of a paddy wagon and ship them off to a gulag with no trial, no due process, simply because they accuse them of being an illegal immigrant. And then they say, well, he was an illegal immigrant. Well, how do you know? Well, because we could just tell. And since he didn't have any rights, we just deported him to a prison in El Salvador for a 20-year sentence. But he ends up being a U.S. citizen, but nobody knows because there was no due process. There was no arraignment in court. There was nothing. They just whisked the person away in the dead of night. They made a mistake, and there goes a U.S. citizen who has rights under the Constitution, and that just went straight into the trash can. And that's why you need to protect the rights of everyone, and that's why you have these guardrails in place. And in Canada, there are provisions within our Constitution, which some people, for some freaking reason, I guess basically because they didn't go to school or they didn't teach it to you when you did, we do have a Constitution and we do have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms, and we have similar provisions in our the provisions in it are somewhat different. That's all. Okay, here we go. We have somebody on the line. And it was there. I don't know where it went. I don't know. We had somebody. And it looks like they disappeared. Maybe I made a mistake. I don't know. We'll have to call back, maybe. Looked like we had a caller coming in. There was somebody there. Anyway, I'm still live, and we're live, and I'm ready to take calls if somebody does want to call back. Anyway, that's the 14th Amendment. Canada, similar provisions so to protect people's rights. It's just written in a different way, but it's very similar in our charter. So, which, they did do an end run around it during the pandemic, right? But so too did they do that in the States, and many states, more so in some than others. But it's Section 1, just has to be, you solve all the problems if you just rewrite that. There's a process to go through. It's lengthy, and you need approval from multiple provinces. I think it's 7 out of 10, and there's a process involved. But it's all there, and if people really wanted it, if they really freaking cared, I was protesting in Ottawa at the Freedom Convoy. Yeah, what have you done since? Oh, I went to the ostrich farm. Yeah, well, what about everything that happened during the pandemic and the lockdowns? What have you done since then to change things? Well, I don't know, because no one's talking about that. Yeah, that's right. Nobody's talking about it. To some degree, that's what was supposed to be fought in a way by Prime Peckford and Maxime Bernier. But that case was thrown out in the end because it was, they were really challenging the mandates, and the court rendered it moot because the mandate lifted. Oh, looks like we got somebody there. Okay. And there it is. I think we got her. There it goes. And who do we have on the line? Hello. There we go.
From Brandon, Manitoba.
Well, greetings and welcome again.
Yes, greetings and Happy New Year to you.
Yes.
And to the Mavericks.
Yes. Yeah, well, great to hear from you. And I'm glad that you called in. I can use a little help tonight.
Well, I'm glad to hear from, or to read what the Mavericks are saying. And I'm hoping that Lori will use the same number that I just called in. Can she reach you via the States with this number?
You can reach me on that number. I don't know if, what happens in terms of long distance charges or whatever, because it's a Google number and I am in Canada. And so,
so it's not a free, it's not toll free.
It's not a toll free number, but I don't know if it's international or how it really works. I don't know. I know okay. Google doesn't charge you.
Right. Because I don't see that charge on my phone bill when I've called you a couple of times in the past.
Yeah. Because where are you calling from?
Brandon, Manitoba.
Yeah. So I know for sure Canada wide, it's not going to cost you anything.
Right.
But you cross the border. I'm not sure. I do have a toll free number if somebody really wants to call in on it.
Well, I think I read on the chat with Lori, who's joined us. She indicated she didn't have that type of system set up where she could video link with you for now.
Yeah.
But I responded because I think, well, to some comments, but Lori's comments caught my attention as far as
by the way, they didn't hear your name. I didn't have you up, so it's Sharon.
Yes.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm going to give the toll-free number to the mod.
Oh, okay, good.
And yeah, this costs by the minute. This is anyway, it's there. So I just gave it to the mod. So if she can get it to Lori, then that's cool.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think what I was saying earlier, what prompted me to call, and I think I just called to see if this number is working still. Yeah, it's still working.
Yeah, it works. Yeah, we haven't used it in a while.
Yes. I called in briefly to indicate that what kind of startled me was some of the comments where Trump's intention to make this a hemispheric battle is blowing me away. And and although I know this doesn't sound patriotic from a Canadian point of view, but we don't stand a chance if this is what Trump really wants to do here. And this is speculation on my part. So I'm just going by your conversation with Joseph and what's been talked about tonight. But it's like, okay, I'll believe it when I see it. But and I was indicating in the chat that actions speak a lot louder than words. So are you saying, Rick, that Trump is dead serious about not harvesting, taking over our natural resources?
Yep, 100%. How's that?
Well, that's not good.
100%. Yep. Everybody's like, Tucker Carlson's joking. No, he's not. This is a whole campaign. They've got a team. They're funding this. It's a propaganda thing. There's so many elements to this. They've been at it for a long time. They're chipping away at the country, and it's not just the resources, man. Like, they want the whole country. Like, he wants the whole country. I don't think it's really coming from the Democrat side or the Bidens. There are probably some people over there who are part of it too, and it's not 100%, party wide or MAGA wide. But some people know what's going on, other people don't. But yeah, 100%. Trump wants Canada. He wants Greenland. He wants the whole shebang. And it's part of this larger worldwide war on liberalism, which is the pretext, and the way that they're getting people engaged to fight, because they're getting people jacked up and in the streets and being disruptive in all these countries, including Canada. And,
hey, Rick.
Yeah.
Can I get your comment on an email I sent you today? I don't know if you got it, but I was interested in hearing your opinion about a YouTuber I came across. He's a lawyer. He's a father of 8. He's covered. He's a podcaster, Baron Coleman, and he brought to my attention the other day, a couple of days ago actually, and his reaction is what kind of startled me, where he was talking about Senate Armed Services Committee hearing between a senator and a 4-star general 3 or 4 months ago, where he posed to the general a question.
Okay. And
he asked this 4-star general this question, and he said, would you, if there was an order to attack domestic terrorists or DTOs, those people who don't even know they're on the list, to attack these terrorists, quote unquote, would you follow the order? And this general replied with, now the answer is what kind of would throw many, I think, well, definitely through Baron Coleman, this lawyer who has represented military people in his practice about 10 times, he said. And he said it wasn't the answer I was expecting, and it scared the hell out of him. And his answer was this. He said, well, what I would do, I would look at the order, I would consult my legal the legal team in my office or in my department. If I still had questions, I would bring it up to the chairman or the Secretary of Defense or War as we know it now, and who always invite questions. And if there wasn't anything of concern to me, I would do it. And Baron Coleman said, well, this should scare the hell out of everybody, because really, if the next president deems a certain group or another group of people as terrorists or domestic terrorists, or those who are dissenting against the current law of the land, does that mean that we now can remove people who keep American people on American soil? We can start eliminating them without due process. In other words, this group or these people would never be notified of a charge. They would not be.
Yep.
They would not know that they would not be given the opportunity to defend themselves. They would not be given the opportunity to have a lawyer. They would not be given the opportunity to rebut the charges against them. What he's saying is this particular general, with his answer, without ever acknowledging due process or the system of laws that we have here in Canada, that Americans have, originating from what? The Magna Carta, originally from England. Is that all going to be thrown? Is that all going to be thrown out with the baby? I mean, this was something that was answered about 4 months ago, Rick, in an armed Senate or committee hearing of the armed services between a senator and a 4-star general in 2025.
Yeah.
Under this president.
So your question to me is what exactly?
What do you think of that answer from a 4-star general concerning the military being able to kill Americans on American soil without due process?
Right.
Is this China? Is this North Korea?
Yeah.
Is this the old Soviet Union now?
Nope. It is a communo-fascistic regime that has been born out of the populist movement, and sort of a series of secret backroom deals that have been going on between Trump, Putin, and Xi. That's what's going on. That's what's going on. And somebody else tried to come in, but didn't take, I guess. So we'll have to see if they call back. And I don't think there's any, it's not just accidental or loose language that's being employed here. The word terrorist, I think, is being used very intentionally, because it's being used over and over and over again at the domestic level even. And that is because if it comes to that, right, and this is the foundation for what could end up being a civil war, and the justification for taking out political enemies, and maybe even doing an end run around elections and things like that. And while that may sound conspiratorial, it's just the language is being used too often for it to be accidental, and it's being used by people who should know better.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What this lawyer was pointing out was what bothered him so much was that none of the major 3 media corporations covered this particular hearing or this particular exchange between the senator and general. Not the New York Times, not the Los Angeles Times or Miami Herald or Washington Post. Zippo, Zero, the only outlet that covered this story, and the only reason why this lawyer became aware of it was through The Intercept, that media outlet. That was the only one that brought this to the attention, and this is what shocked him. I mean, I'm not a lawyer, so I'm going to pay attention to people, whether it's in the judiciary or whether it's within the church, long established institutions that we trust. And if this guy is if this guy is getting a little bit nervous, it's like, holy crap! Like,
see, some of these people, they're part of the planning. They're part of the plan. They're like a whole bunch of generals and retired generals who actually belong to an organization, and they are part of the MAGA sphere, the MAGA sphere of influence, the MAGA sphere of power, and they're definitely connected to Trump. Yeah, and they've helped come up with the plan. So
if this is going to happen, I mean, if this actually does happen, where we witness the military attacking her, if I witness an American soldier killing an American dissenter or protester, I don't agree with violent protests, but I certainly agree with the ability or the freedom to disagree and protest legally. But if I ever witness this happen, I'm thinking, well, that's going to be the end. That's just like that's going to be, that's not good.
yeah, it's a dangerous time, and they are laying the groundwork for it because some of these people really, I think they want it. They're trying to create the conditions for it because they're that angry. That's the thing about Trump, especially Trump 2.0. When I'm watching him, it's kind of like, this guy's really angry. There's so much anger there. But,
well, some of it, well, it seems to be infecting certain other long established, I guess, I don't know what the word is there, Rick, but just, I would never, out of all the militaries, I would never think that the American military would turn against her own people.
You can watch the show, Jeff.
Yeah. We have somebody else on the line there. Who's joining us now? Who's there?
Oh, hi, it's Carol from Fairmount.
Well, welcome, Carol from Fairmount.
Well, yeah, this stuff isn't good.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's really not good. And I'm listening to you, Sharon, and I understand that, when it finally dawns on you that everything's just gone out the window. Okay. Mm-hmm. The rules are done. Yep. All right. This guy's going to get away with whatever he wants. And I can understand that, the horror that you must feel when you're finally recognizing the rules are gone.
Yep.
Okay. They're done. So we can wake up tomorrow with, you don't know what's going to hit you next.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's a reality. And I don't mean to be there's just nothing anymore that holds true. Mm-hmm. There's Rick, help me.
You want me to help you?
Well, I don't think you can help me, but you can could you get through to people? Here's my thing. Get through to people that this is for real, right? Enough already that he's not going to get away with what he wants. Right? And the fact that we're not getting to a war, we're in a war. Yeah. I have neighbors. Like yesterday, I had two neighbors walk by. I was out there scraping some snow, and they were supporting him. They thought what he did was a great move. I'm standing there in horror. I mean, what am I going to say, right? I've got family members who think this is fantastic. Mm-hmm. I mean, the guy's just bravo. I don't even know what to do with that. I mean, it's really unnerving.
Yeah, and it's terrible because then these supporters will look at you and go, well, you're a liberal.
Oh, God.
Say, right? And it's like, that the worst insult you have? It's like, okay.
Let's try harder. But but it's just freaking me out. It's like, seriously, you really think going into Venezuela, okay, on this pretext is a good thing. You really can't see that when you can do this, then what can you do next?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Anything he wants.
Anything.
Yep.
Anything he wants. And for us that are, I'm listening to Sharon, and I understand, Sharon, you were pointing out that, yes, but we have rules, and we have this, and we have this, and we have that. But we don't. We don't have them anymore. They have gone out the window.
I know.
Yeah.
I guess I'm having a hard time accepting that this is actually happening in real time, and I'm thinking, okay. So
I know, and Sharon, I think, I know. I know. I want to hold on to the fact that somehow there's something. We have Oh my God, what do you
Stable,
have?
solid.
There should be something that could stop this son of a gun. Right?
Mm.
Yeah.
But there's nothing anymore. It's all done now.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true. See, because
Oh, good.
Give me
No.
some hope. Can
Sure.
you give me some hope? Please.
it comes down to this. It comes down to the people.
I know.
Because you know why? As much power as he thinks he has, any way you slice it, any of these dictators, authoritarians, or elected dictators, people like Trump, anybody, any politician, anyone ruling in any capacity, they're not powerful because they're powerful. They're not powerful because they're deities or godlike figures. That's why he's posting pictures of himself looking like the Pope and a king and so on, because they're trying to put that image into your mind, like this guy's untouchable. He's so powerful. He's, infallible.
Well,
but
right.
you know where their power really comes from?
The people.
Us, the people. Always.
Oh, it's always that way, Rick.
Yes.
Always. And maybe because I've never bought into this deity thing, right? I mean, maybe that's why I see it a little clearer on. You're not going to fool me with your God look and whatever is going on there. Like that doesn't make me any happier. But God, I'm so concerned.
They've turned everything upside down, and they've been lying to us for so long. And really, as much as our system has problems, if you really stand back and take a look at it, when people are like, we want freedom and we want this and we want, we already had it. We had it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just need to make sure we don't blow it up. And that's what they want us to do. They want us to
that we
blow
don't lose
everything
it
up on our own so that they don't have to do it. They want us to fight amongst ourselves.
That's right. We do the dirty work.
They want us to overthrow our government so they don't have to do it.
Yeah, it's clear. Yeah, we should do the dirty work. Yeah, I understand that process.
That's what they're doing. That's what they always do. And then or they create this pretext of can't same thing in Venezuela. Canada's a drug haven. They're flooding us with fentanyl. They're killing our people. Canada's a communist hellhole. Tucker Carlson out there saying we should invade on humanitarian grounds because of this government program or that government program. Well, you know what, man? Keep your nose out of our politics.
That's right.
Because but all this stuff that they're doing to shit all over our country and our system of government, it's all being done to create justification for invading us or taking us over or having us overthrow the government, but just destabilize everything to the point where it's like, well, now we don't have any choice. We have to intervene to save the people.
Absolutely. So let's create a pretext so we can go in and climb all over us. And I know we see it, Rick.
And they talk about it openly now, right?
Absolutely.
So don't, you have to call it out. We have to tell, that's what we have to show people. And then we've got some.
So what do I tell my neighbors as they're walking by, as I'm scraping snow, telling me what a great thing, Trump just did? What should my response be? What do you think? What would you suggest?
Pray.
Ralph and Harry.
Pray.
So hard to answer that because it's like, I mean, I don't have an answer for that right now.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to navigate like you, right?
We're all reacting. You
know what you do? You tell them to watch this program. And then we can all call in and have broader discussions about it and I hate to use the phrase.
I wish I could, Rick, and I recommend it when I can. But in this little community, I think I would get lynched.
Yeah, I know.
Get lynched.
Yeah, you should be me. It's like,
no, I'm glad I'm not.
You should be me, man.
I think that there has been some points made in the chat that you mentioned this earlier, Rick, about the Venezuelans themselves suffering so much recently. So and my question, and I wasn't paying attention really to to that part of the world, and I didn't realize how much the Venezuelan people have lost or suffered. And I'm hoping that this will be of benefit to them in the long run, for the people themselves. And as you referred to earlier, it's the people, it's us that can make the difference, and just focus on what I can do and what you can do and others can do to help people to understand or make it better somehow.
Yeah.
And more constructive somehow. More solutions as opposed to crises every other day. But I'm going to continue listening, Rick. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, thank you for calling and sharing. It's always a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Rick. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So go ahead.
I don't have much further to go either, and I don't know what's going to go on with the Venezuelans, and I don't know what'll come for them. So
yeah, just keep in mind that, like I said, the power always comes from the people. Trump's
it always does.
Yeah, Trump is really at about a 38% approval rating. He's down.
Yeah,
that's why he's in a rush, right? He only has 4 years to roll out this whole plan. They've been flooding the zone with all of these laws, and the big beautiful bill, no one even knows what's in it. There's so much packed into one thing. That's intentional, so you don't know. And they jammed all this stuff in there, and he's serious about running again. There's a whole organization, a machine behind that to try to create the conditions so he can run again, because they don't want to give up power. It's not just him. There's a whole, it's the whole MAGA machine,
It's not a good one.
No.
And there's something going on right now. There's an urgency that things are going to change.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He's in a rush because he's trying to set the conditions up so that they can just hold on to power, I think. And ultimately that might be to gin up some sort of a civil war and then go, can't have an election. And I don't know what they've got planned.
No, we don't know. We don't know. We can talk about what's going on right now, and that's not good. That's all we have right now.
Yeah. There we go.
So anyway, Rick, I'll let you go and please get some rest.
Okay.
Jeez, I don't know how. I don't know how you do it.
My eyes, do you? I have my glasses on, to prevent to hide them, but they're always present. Yeah.
Thanks for being there, man.
All right.
Thank you for being there.
Thanks for calling in.
All right.
I'll be here tomorrow too, I think.
Great. I know.
Talk to you later. Okay, who's on the line? Hello.
Did I get through?
Yeah,
Can you hear me, Rick?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, this is
it's an old familiar voice.
It is indeed.
Maverick News.
Well, welcome back, old friend.
I finally got through.
Yes, you did.
My phone plan doesn't let me make international calls, and I can't even call Canada for the love of God. So I wanted to get into this conversation so much as your old friend from the United States.
Yeah.
Happy New Year, Maverick. Happy New Year, Rick.
Happy New Year to you too. Let me just check in the chat and just ask, can you guys hear Lori okay? Because this is coming in they can hear you. Okay.
Oh,
yeah, I got you. Okay, cool. So go ahead.
Well, all this is bringing back memories of when you and I were talking about this on Maverick News, 3 years ago, when Tucker Carlson and what's his name? Jackson Hinkle.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys, the MAGA communist movement, they were talking about, let's invade Canada. Let's take all their resources.
Yeah.
And some people were like, that's insane. You can't do that. Well, fast forward 3 years. Trump is now in power.
Yep.
These are the people who told you to vote for Trump. They told me to vote for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I voted for Trump.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm calling to apologize sincerely.
Yeah, I've already apologized many times myself. So, yeah, we're in the same camp. Yeah.
Well, we all make mistakes, and we can all be fooled, right? No matter how smart you think you are, and you're very smart, Rick, anybody can be fooled, and Trump is one hell of a good con man.
Yeah.
That's what he's been doing his whole life, his whole career. If you're old enough to remember, the Donald Trump of the 1980s and 1990s and 2000s, before he got into politics, you know, he was a great con man, and he's very good at spending other people's money.
Yeah.
And my biggest concern and why I turned against Trump for a while, for several years, you know, I was not vehemently anti-Trump, but I was also very disappointed in Trump because I voted for Trump the first time in 2016. And then he made me mad when he arrested Julian Assange and bombed Syria and broke a lot of his key promises. I didn't like a lot of the things Trump did. I turned against him. I didn't vote for him in 2020. And yeah, I believe Joe Biden won that election, even though I didn't vote for Joe Biden. I haven't voted for a Democrat in 30 years. I wanted to like Trump. I wanted to give Trump a chance. And I gave him another chance in 2024 against my better judgment. And here's why I did it. I just want to explain this so you guys won't hate me. And maybe some people out there will understand, because if you're listening in the United States, maybe you voted for Trump too. Maybe you regret it now. I regret it. And the reason I gave him a second chance was what happened in Butler, Pennsylvania. I thought when he got shot that he had a come to Jesus moment. I thought maybe he had changed. I thought maybe he had found humility, which is a foreign word to Donald Trump, let's be honest. And I just hoped, against hope, that he would be better than the other choice, because we had lived under 4 years of Biden's chaos, 4 years of Biden hell. Kamala Harris, there was no way that I could vote for Kamala Harris. What choice did I have? The libertarian candidate, you know, I'm a longtime libertarian, Rick, but I couldn't bring myself to vote for Chase Oliver. I wasn't going to vote for Cornel West. So I voted for Trump. I held my nose and hoped for the best and voted for Trump. And I voted for what Trump said. I did not vote for what Trump is doing.
Right.
He's doing the opposite of what he said. That he was going to be the president of peace. That he was going to end the Russia-Ukraine war on day one in 24 hours. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Well, here we are going on year 2. Hasn't happened.
Yep.
He said he was going to be the president of peace, but just in the last week, just since Christmas, the guy has bombed 3 countries. He bombed Nigeria, he bombed Syria, and he bombed Venezuela.
Yeah.
In a week.
Yeah.
And he thought nobody would notice because it's Christmas and Congress is gone. How convenient. Yeah. What's Congress going to do about it? All of this was planned. I guarantee you these strikes were strategically timed to happen over the holidays when Congress was out of session.
Yeah.
It's authoritarian. It's frightening. And I was saying in the chat earlier, you know, it's all fun and games until he decides to do that to Canada or Mexico. And they're being pretty clear that they do intend to go after Mexico.
Yep.
And they do intend to come for Canada.
Yep.
And people who laughed 3 years ago when you and I were talking about what Tucker Carlson was saying, what Jackson Hinkle was saying, and other influencers saying, yeah, let's go take Canada. They were not kidding.
Right.
This is not a joke. So I apologize to my Canadian friends. I had no idea that practically on day one he was going to come after Canada and impose these crazy tariffs on you and start talking about, you know, overthrowing your government and literally taking your oil.
Yeah.
You guys have a lot of oil.
Yeah.
Not a lot of army.
Yeah, no kidding. I keep saying if you invade, I'll just put the barbecue on. Like we're not going to fight back much. I don't think, although people are talking about it up here already. And I'm kind of like, need a better strategy. Fighting not going to work. So we need a different approach. Yeah.
That's true. And, you know, if I could give any advice right now, just as a historian, I'm reading a book right now, actually, that I would recommend to people. It's called Those Angry Days. It's written by Lynn Olson. And it's about the pre-war years before World War II in the United States. about the original America First movement, if you know much about that. It's headed up by Charles Lindbergh and Father Coughlin. And, these were the isolationists who didn't want to get into Europe's war. Yeah. And the Roosevelt administration, which did feel that democracy had to be defended around the globe. And the Roosevelt administration, to their credit, understood the bigger picture, and that sooner or later we were going to get drawn into that war. It was just a matter of time. And it's all about the fight in Congress and to win the American people's hearts and minds, to rearm, to institute the first peacetime draft in 20 years, and start bulking up our armed forces and, getting our production facilities ready for war. You hope that war does not come, but you need to be prepared for it, or you will get taken just as easily as Venezuela will be taken.
Yeah.
Don't let them roll over you, Canada.
Yeah. There's no time, though. There's no time. If he's going to do it, he's going to do it soon. And but you know what? It may spill over into, it may be not just a war against Canada. I see the division in the U.S. too, and a possible civil war down there. And it may manifest itself in that way. It may evolve into that. I just don't know.
I was just talking to a friend last night about that, Rick. I was saying that I think the bigger plan here, and it is in Project 2025, is to make the entire Western Hemisphere America. Obviously, he wants North America to be all America. That's why he renamed the Gulf of Mexico the Gulf of America.
Yep.
That's why he's crowing about fentanyl blowing in across our southern and northern borders.
Yep.
As an excuse to take Mexico and Canada, our immediate neighbors, which would be an incredible landmass filled with tremendous resources. And how the hell else are we going to become the world superpower when it comes to AI technology if we don't have the energy to power the AI we need? And so he thinks he's going to get that energy from places like Canada, Mexico, Venezuela, and other oil and energy-rich countries that don't have big armies. It's easy to pick on the little guys. I mean, you might be a large landmass in Canada, but you just don't have that large army.
Yep.
You sure don't see him trying shit like this in Russia. You don't see him trying to oust Putin with a special forces raid in Moscow. You do not see him trying that with Xi in China. He's not about to mess with a country that's got a real military. He's picking on the weaker countries because he can. That's what bullies do.
Yep. But see, the America I know, or thought I knew, was supposed to look out for the little guy.
Right.
I thought. Not beat him up.
That's why we've been strategic partners for so long, the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah.
We've always had our protective arm around Canada. And you've helped us in every world war, in every conflict.
And during the Iran hostage crisis. And, we contribute in a variety of ways that maybe people aren't really aware of. And that's what I've said. We're more valuable, actually, to the United States as an ally than as a 51st state. We give you an extra seat at the UN.
You do.
So.
That's so true. And, there's so much more that we have in common, too, culturally with Canadians than we do with our brothers and sisters in Mexico. Because we speak the same language for the most part. Canada speaks mostly English. And culturally, we're very much the same. Whereas Mexico, even though it's much closer to me, I could drive to Mexico in less than a day. It would take me 2 days to get to Canada. You're much further away, and yet culturally, we have so much more in common. When I go to Mexico, I know I'm in a foreign country. Everything's different. The language barrier is a big problem. Unless you speak good Spanish. But yeah, the U.S. and Canada, we are brothers and sisters. I truly believe that. I will never turn against my Canadian friends. And if my government continues to pursue this stupid path of trying to steal Canada or make you the 51st state, I will stand with Canada. I just wanted to make that really clear. I wanted to call in and tell you that.
Thank you.
And tell you that I am not standing for what Trump is doing right now. Absolutely not.
Thank you, Lori. It's nice to know you've got Canada's back.
You got a friend down here in Oklahoma.
That's good news. There's one.
I will come and join the Canadian resistance.
Yeah. I've got, well, like I said, you got the barbecue on, and it's snowing outside, but we're so resilient that we barbecue in the ice, so it's not an issue.
I totally believe that.
We do, actually. Yeah, it's out on my deck when I'm at my home. Yeah, the barbecue's right out there, and just open the door and fire it up. So we're fully equipped.
Well, I hope your parents are doing well. It's nice to see you broadcasting once again from the basement where it all started for you when you were 6 or 7 years old.
That's right. In my mom's and dad's basement. Yeah.
Yeah, with the Ricky Walker radio station.
That's right. It was right over there. There used to be a wall there, and the Ricky Walker radio station was in that corner over there. My dad didn't know. And yeah, I wired up the Coleco CB40 thing, whatever it was. And I put an antenna on the roof behind the house where he couldn't see it. And I was broadcasting to the South London area. But that's another, I'll repeat the story another time when we have more time. Yeah. But right over there, it all began.
Such a great story. I never get tired of that story.
Yeah. Well,
so
it's no different. It's not really any, it's no different today, really. Audience is about the same size. Got 3 or 4 people. And one of them is my dad, who then who pulls up and says, "Is that you on the CB? Get your ass home. You're in so much trouble. You're going to get us arrested. CRTC's coming to throw your ass in jail, boy."
That's right. You explained it to me that was illegal back in the day.
That's right.
You were doing this actually an illegal pirate radio station.
That's right, because you have to have a license for the CB, and I was using it for other purposes, and I took over the airwaves. Nobody else could talk on that channel, on channel 14. It was like mine. Oh man. Anyway, those were the days.
Ever the Maverick.
Just wanted to tell you, it was all family friendly content. So yeah, but I did not pay the royalties on the copyrighted music. I had no budget. So anyway, there you go.
Well, I'm glad they didn't throw you in jail for that one. You were doing a public service. You were just keeping the neighborhood informed. I did have newscasts with the music. Actually, I did. Even then, really? I did 100%. Yeah. Did the news.
Yeah, I did the news.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the weather. And the weather. I still do that now. And they may still
reported the weather forecast a day in advance, right? The weather was going to be the next day.
Well, I would insert it later because I knew how to edit stuff, but yeah, no, I did the weather as well. And there was the forecast, 7-day forecast from Environment Canada. And I'll tell you this, they may still yet throw me in jail for doing this because nothing's changed.
Oh, no, they won't touch you, Rick. You're too valuable to Canada. I wanted to compliment you on your coverage of this whole situation in Venezuela. The last couple of days, I work overnight shift, so I'm up, and when all that was unfolding, early Saturday morning, was it?
Yeah.
I noticed that you were live, so I tuned in.
Yeah, for a while with no audio. Yeah. Well,
no audio.
Yeah, for a little while. It's because of this old computer. You don't need to know, but I figured it out. So.
Damn it. Well, I know it's weird when you're not in your own home studio and you're trying to do this on the fly.
Yeah.
But you're doing it, and it's just cool that you were on top of that story when the world was asleep. You were one of the few who was actually live and covering it, and you've brought every update and press conference from the White House, which was such a shit show. Trump just didn't look well. I know it was an all-night thing, and he probably was sleep-deprived, but did you notice how sleepy and out of this he looked?
Yeah.
Yesterday?
Yep. Yeah. So who knows how long he's going to be around? I mean, he's older than, he's just old. So who knows?
I think we really need to amend our Constitution and just put an age limit in there for presidents. If you're over 75, you really shouldn't have this job. It's too stressful a job for someone that age.
Yeah.
I don't mean to be ageist or anything, but...
And too easily controlled, I think, at that age, too, by people around you.
That's right.
Yeah.
The presidency, we've all seen how it ages people. You can take a picture of, say, Barack Obama going in 2009 and a picture of him coming out in 2017, and it looks like the man aged 25 years. Yeah. All the hair is gray. He's got all these wrinkles. It's the highest stress job in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that anyone's too old for that. Biden was too old. Trump was too old for a second term. And now we're living with the consequences of a dementia patient running the country again. They were both bad. I don't have anything really good to say about Biden either, as you know.
Yep. Yep.
How many times did we play videos of Biden falling down on Maverick News?
Mm-hmm. That's
over
right.
and over and over.
Yeah.
And just saying, this old boy is just not up for the job.
Yeah, I mean, he was pretty bad. It was pretty bad, and I'm like, I wouldn't vote for that guy. But now we've got this, and I'm kind of like, can we have that other guy back? Like, at least he didn't want to take over our country, but it's been just bad for a long time. It's just bad. I don't know what else to say.
Just bad.
Just bad.
I was no fan of Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton's the reason I left the Democratic Party after being a lifelong Democrat in the 90s. But I was just thinking today, Bill Clinton was not great, but I'd give anything to have those days back again.
Yeah.
That pre-9/11, pre-George Bush era of endless wars, regime change, playing like we're the boss of the world. At least Bill Clinton did not do that.
Yeah.
He never tried to do that.
Yeah.
For all of his faults and all of the bad things that he did.
True.
I'd give anything to have that economy back, have that sense of community back.
Yeah. In that
and
respect.
when I say community,
yeah.
I mean the world community.
Yeah. It's still out there. It's still out there. You just gotta have to rekindle and regenerate the relationships. But good luck now, because nobody trusts. The trust has been undermined, right? So it's bad for the United States. Much worse than I think anybody realizes in the long run. This is not good.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
I'm curious to get your thoughts on this. What do you think Vladimir Putin felt when he saw Maduro in handcuffs in the United States? They're a long time now.
I think that I think he gave him up, to be quite honest with you, because this is part of the global movement to carve the world up into spheres of dominance, and I think this is part of a deal that Trump has made. They were in Alaska. They were probably talking about this deal, not about Ukraine directly, just Ukraine as part of the overall picture. So I think that Trump is kind of backing away from Ukraine, and giving that up, and in exchange, Putin is backing away from Venezuela. And that's why Trump wasn't afraid to go in. And if I were Cuba, I'd be very worried right now, because I wouldn't be, because they're in, I think, the same situation. And this way, the U.S. won't intervene when Putin does whatever he wants to do in his neck of the woods. And the same thing with Xi when he goes into Taiwan. I think that I don't think Trump will be inclined to do anything about it. So
fascinating.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Yes. And we know that, Marco Rubio and Trump both said that Cuba is top of their priority list.
Yep.
I think Cuba will come next, and then Mexico, maybe Greenland, just for good measure.
Yep. And it's going to happen
the-
faster than anybody realizes, because he knows he only has so much time, and they've been doing everything at like breakneck speed, flood the zone, so that there isn't even any time to challenge anything in courts because it's just too much. That's what's been the strategy. So, and they'll even come for us soon.
I'm afraid so. I wish it wasn't so, but I think the Canadians need to face that reality and govern themselves accordingly. Maybe Mark Carney, needs to take set up a government in exile in the Bahamas or Switzerland.
I don't know. We need it.
Poland did.
Yeah, we need to come up with some way to cope with this for sure. And I hope that you call back and come in and help us by coming back on the show from time to time, because I miss you, and everybody here talks about you and asks about you. So yeah, always welcome.
That is so sweet. Thank you. I've been so busy just working. Like you say, they've been flooding my zone. At my day job as a news editor, I am so tired. I mean, things finally slowed down. It seemed like the news cycle kind of quieted down like it usually does over the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Got a couple weeks to catch up on sleep, to read some books, and just kind of try to tune out of the news. But boy, they didn't wait long after the start of the new year to, hey, let's start a new war.
Yeah.
Let's give the whole world something to worry about. Because this Venezuela situation should concern the whole world. And I noticed that our longtime allies in the UK, once again, I saw Keir Starmer came out yesterday and said, Great Britain had nothing to do with this.
Yep.
We don't want anything to do with this.
Yep.
It's like they didn't want anything to do with blowing up these boats, these extrajudicial killings that we're committing against alleged drug boats. Why aren't we just boarding the boats, arresting the alleged traffickers and dragging them off to court like we usually do? We're killing people. We're just blowing people up.
Yep.
Without any evidence.
Yep.
Without any alleged contraband.
Yep.
It's unbelievable what we're doing. And I'm ashamed and embarrassed right now of my government. And I feel like I owe everyone an apology. If I influenced anyone last year to vote for Trump, I'm sorry. I was wrong.
And I am saddened and disappointed, and I miss the before times.
Me too, my brother. Me too.
Yeah. Lori?
It's like we'll never get back to that. We've just been fighting for the last 5 years to get back to the before times. First, we had to get through the pandemic and all of that craziness. And then the economy never quite bounced back. It was trying to. And then Trump came along and just wrecked everything.
Yeah. With
the tariffs, with the loss of jobs, with the rapid rise of AI. It's destroying the job market. It's destroying the economy and the environment.
Yeah.
That's why our energy bills are so high. And I think it's got a lot to do with why we want to take over the resources of other countries. When you look at the bigger picture, I think this is all about the resources for AI.
Definitely. Yep.
Yeah. Well, it's been wonderful talking to you. I know it's time for you to sign off for the night, but it's so nice to hear your voice. And I hope your parents are well. Hope you're doing well. Hope everyone in the Maverick family is doing well. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you too, Lori. And look forward to having you back again.
Absolutely. We'll talk again, my friend.
You betcha.
Good night.
See ya. And with that, we're going to wrap it up for the night, folks. And I think that should give you some insight. Does Trump mean it? 100%. He means what he says. And be careful who you're listening to out there. Be careful who you're following. Some of them say they're patriots. Well, a lot of them. but they really may be Trump traitors. See you back here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern. On the flip side.
Didn't pick this fight, but here it came. Now our own are playing a traitor's game. They sell us out for a tax cut deal. Shake his hand while they rob and steal. They call us blind, they call us weak, but they're the ones on their knees to the thief. Wave our flag while they burn it down, marching to the sound of a tyrant's crown. Patriots, they're bought and sold. Trade our land for American gold. Singing his tune, dancing his way, but they'll cry for Canada when it's too late. Yeah. Trump traitors, selling us out, burning our home for a tax break now. They stand with the wolves, spit on the brave, but they'll beg for Canada when it's in its grave. They talk real tough, but they bow real low, licking his boots while they put on a show. They chant his name, raise their fists up high, while the real ones fight to keep us alive. They don't fight fair, they twist the truth, say they're the future, but they kill the roots. They laugh now, but watch them run when the north wind howls and justice comes. Traitors, selling us out, burning our home for a tax break now. They stand with the wolves, spit on the brave, but they'll beg for Canada when it's in its grave. One day soon the tide will turn, and traitors pay when the fires burn. No statues raised, no banners flown, just names in dust where the traitors roam. Selling us out, burning our home for a tax break now. They stand with the wolves, spit on the brave, but they'll beg for Canada when it's in its grave. Trump traitors, Trump traitors, Trump traitors. Trump traitors! Trump traitors! Shame.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.